where we play the most fun games.
Wow!
And sing songs.
I love it!
Just say his name and he'll be there.
Hey, Barney!
Hey, friends!
Join us in Barney's World. New episode, Saturday, 8 a.m. on Cartoonito.
My name is Uzochukwu.
His father was the richest man in our village.
But nothing is working.
Thanks for joining us. Provincial member for West New Britain, Sasindran Mutaville, has backed the call by late Sir Julius Chan to decentralize the powers from the national government to each province in the country, believing it will help each province develop. Mutaville said this during the funeral program of late Sir Julius Chan at his residence in Manmantinut, Namatanai district.
One of the bills that late Sir Julius Chan brought to Parliament was the decentralization of powers from the national government. It is yet to be passed. Decentralization of power refers to the transfer of authority and decision-making from a central government to lower levels of government or local institutions. Provincial member for West New Britain, Sasindran Mutaville, while paying tribute to Sir J during his funeral program recently, says Sir Julius strongly advocated for the decentralization of powers from Waigani to the provinces under the autonomy system. Governor Mutaville stressed that autonomy is about granting greater powers to a province so that it manages its own affairs. It should not be viewed as an attempt to break up the country.
Em papablo country, emi ek savelo wanem something emi gurpla or ino gurpla lo country. Into got strong belief na faith lo this la thinking lo mem lo this la autonomy. Even after 50 years, Papa Nigni none of lo grow unless otherwise you me decentralize malgata power lo Waigani na come down lo province.
Mutaville further assured the people of the New Guinea Islands region that all its leaders will be supporting the call for autonomy when Parliament resumes.
Suppose you look Australia or Narapla the country, you go to Queensland and one lost stuff. You go to New South Wales, Narapla lost stuff. Victoria and different. Now one state global, you got one economy global. Now contributing big time low, GDP low, this is nation. Likewise, suppose Papa Nikini like grow, you must bear in this thinking law, Papa Blow India. Law bear in this autonomy thinking. Autonomy law, you mean Burkin Papa Nikini, no God. You mean empowering all provinces, now you mean come up in one province and we come up with an economic unity. Some province and we like run, Larryman run. Some province and we walk about, Larryman walk about. Some like crawl, Larryman crawl. But no can takul sem usati like ranya by holding hand na takul sem you wait until this la narapla crawl. Emily Molson, who's that province? We ready na? We ready lo working Molson, hard work lo, bringing this la development. Lari malbo.
Meantime, Western Britain leaders contributed 250,000 kina to the funeral arrangement for Sergei with food and traditional gifts. Leaders from the three other New Guinea Islands provinces, East New Britain, Manus, and the autonomous region of Bougainville, stood with them as the presentation unfolded. Freddie Mo, TV1 News.
Paul Isilawa has dedicated over 2 decades to healthcare, and he says patients in communities like Mogulu in Western Province would not survive without Mission Aviation Fellowship flights. The community health worker and his team of 5 see up to 50 patients a day, treating conditions like malaria, pneumonia, tuberculosis, accidents, snake bites, and all sorts of injuries, while providing antenatal care and maternity service. The challenges are immense: limited staff, a lack of diagnostic equipment, and the overwhelming needs of the population. Paul shared that without MAF, all clinics would be closed. They rely on MAF to deliver medicine and do medivacs to keep clinics running. Now, Paul is also making sure he educates as many people as possible on how to take care of themselves in order to prevent sicknesses. Prime Minister James Marape was in Gasmata, West New Britain Province over the weekend to unveil monuments honouring Australian airmen and soldiers who lost their lives during World War II. Arriving on Friday, the Prime Minister participated in the unveiling ceremony and later spent the night aboard a ship owned by Dr. Andrew Forrest of Fortescue. The monuments were built by Dr. Forrest in memory of his uncle, David Forrest, a 23-year-old pilot who perished in Gasmata alongside fellow soldiers.
Inside bulut you cut him, one can bulut the email kada. I am behind him leg mark, brother blow and he come, brother blow power blow and come here. I am he spending time, spending resources, spending money. Look how make him work, now plant it looks how I come back, long loose, long all soldiers, Australia, now all war remnants, now all war, something he come up long 1942, coming up long 45. So please join me once more. Now you may talk. I'm a master. Now people, thank you. Now looks how long Dr. Andrew Forrest, Mindru Foundation, now Team Logan.
Money Plus, in partnership with Book Belong Pikinini, has donated 4,000 kina worth of books to Car Memorial Adventist School in Port Moresby, enhancing literacy and learning resources for students. The donation, comprising an elementary Kit 3 and a primary Kit 2 with 750 books, aims to support both students and teachers in their academic journey. Deputy Principal Jokabed Lagani expressed gratitude, highlighting the positive impact on classroom learning. Money Plus Sales Support Manager Bernard Mambote reaffirmed the company's commitment to education through its Corporate Social Responsibility Program, while BBP's PR and Marketing Officer Mary Sawa emphasized the importance of corporate partnerships in expanding literacy programs. BBP encourages businesses to support local schools by donating school library kits to improve access to quality learning materials. Turning abroad from maritime history buffs to families looking for a fun day out, crowds have flocked to Hobart's waterfront this weekend to enjoy the Australian Wooden Boat Festival. With just 1 day remaining, organizers are expecting crowd numbers to exceed last year's efforts.
An artistic touch added to a piece of Hobart history in the midst of a restoration.
It's a funny thing. This particular boat doesn't have like a massive historical history, doesn't have a story or it's been around the world or done an Antarctic adventure or anything, but but people still love it just because it's always been there.
For decades, the iconic Little Blue Boat sat in Hobart's Montrose Bay until it was damaged in a storm last August. At this year's Australian Wooden Boat Festival, the team leading its repairs took the chance to show off their progress and add a new feature.
The interest of the residents in this little blue boat has been amazing.
The boat was just one display drawing in attendees across the waterfront, with the chance to peruse modern and historical vessels, enjoy live music, and demonstrations of vintage equipment among this year's offerings.
It's something that a lot of people haven't never seen, only in movies. People are really interested in it. There's a lot of people that turn up where their fathers or grandfathers were actually helmet divers.
It's not just a bunch of old boats sitting around with old people and glasses of wine. It's a full-on community involvement, really, and we work hard to get to bring things in that will interest lots and lots of the community.
Last year's event had a visitation of 60,000 across 4 days. While numbers are still rolling in, organisers are expecting this year's event to be even bigger. But the fun isn't over yet, with the festival continuing tomorrow.
2 disputes have broken out between New Zealand and the Cook Islands. The most recent dispute is over a document with a rather wieldy title, the China-Cook Islands Joint Action Plan for Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. The agreement promises to expand economic opportunities and draw assistance from Beijing across a host of fields, from infrastructure to shipping and green energy. New Zealand's Foreign Minister Winston Peters was unhappy Cook Islands had not shared the agreement with Wellington, suggesting it was a breach of the Free Association Agreement both have for 6 decades. New Zealand's constitutional arrangements with the Cook Islands is a unique free association agreement which hands residents of Cook Islands citizenship of New Zealand and a New Zealand passport. Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown insisted that the agreement with China had nothing to do with security or defence issues and does not trigger any of its obligations to New Zealand under the pact. Back home in sports, Moresby South Electorate's biggest pre-season rugby league tournament, the famous JT Super Nines, got off on a high note over the weekend with a record 128 teams competing over the next 3 weeks at the Moresby Southside Stadium. Local MP and patron Justin Kichenko took time out from his busy schedule to witness Day 2 of the Under-20 competition. He was overwhelmed by the big community turnout and the display of enthusiasm and good sportsmanship by the teams. He said this year's edition is significant as it coincides with the country's 50th Golden Jubilee anniversary.
This year, 128 teams. Unbelievable. And that just shows you the popularity of this team. But for the 50th independence of Papua New Guinea, we have 50,000 kinas first prize, the A grades, and 25,000 for runner-up. And that just shows you how committed we are. It's been overwhelming, supported by everybody, by the community, by their families, by all individuals throughout Moresby South. So this is our biggest year after 8 years of operations for the 50th JT Super Nines, and we look forward. As long as I'm your member, as long as I'm around, the most important thing is we'll continue this very well-run, organised competition for our grassroots Papua New Guinea.
In overseas sports, few Australians have played more rugby league seasons than top-end grandfather Dennis Bree. In Darwin's smothering humidity, he's just marked a significant personal milestone, playing alongside his 17-year-old grandson. The local club, the Relatives Share has also been a space to help young men find their way, providing a strong sense of community for the players.
1, 2, 3, play! For 73-year-old Dennis Bree, age is just a number.
My mind is still in my 20s, that's the trouble. And so I don't think about it until something stops.
That's me there.
With nearly 50 rugby seasons under his belt, Dennis has just reached another milestone, playing in the same team as his 17-year-old grandson, Hamish.
I love him so dearly, you know, like it's fantastic to be able to play with him. He's such a fine young man.
It's pretty inspiring, like how long he's played for and the level he's playing at as well.
Despite a 56-year age gap between the grandpa and grandson duo, Dennis says he doesn't hold back.
The game itself just gets me. I like the physicality of it. I'm not very skillful, but they put up with me and I'm allowed to run at people and they're allowed to run at me and I love it.
I don't know how he does it. If I'm half the man he is at his age, I'll be more than happy.
On and off the rugby field, the Palmerston Crocs Rugby Club has fostered a strong sense of community, especially for young men finding their way.
Not everybody at that age, their teenage years and early 20s are fully grounded. I wasn't. And a club like this helps them through those years in a really big way.
I've grown up here and people around me have just looked out for me the whole time, so I really appreciate this club and all they've done for me.
To those wondering how to continue playing sport while getting older, Dennis's advice is simple.
Is don't stop. There's no reason.
A message to keep going from a man showing no signs of slowing down.
And that ends our news update. Do join us tonight at 6 for the main news.